Deep in the mountains of Galicia, Spain, there is this tradition that explodes into life every year. It's ancient, and it is incredibly divisive. You've got this powerful clash of human hands and wild horses. So what is it really? Is it a sacred connection to the natural world, or is it just a cruel spectacle for entertainment? Today, we're going to break down the two fiercely opposing sides of Rapa das Bestas. Okay, just look at this image. This isn't just a random moment of chaos. This is the climax of a tradition that goes back more than 500 years. You can almost feel that raw energy, right? The tension between the people, they're called aloitadores, and these wild horses. This one picture, it really captures the entire conflict we're about to dive into.
So, what exactly is this event that gets people so fired up? Well, the name itself, Rapa das Bestas, means shaving of the beasts, and that's the core of it. Wild horses are herded down from the mountains into an enclosure called a curro. Once they're in there, they're wrestled to the ground so people can trim their manes and tails, treat them for any parasites, and mark them. And then, they're set free again. It sounds simple on paper, but in practice, it's a whole different story.
All right, so let's look at this from one side first. Through the eyes of the people who participate in it, it's guardians. For them, this isn't some rodeo or a display of dominance. No, it's something way deeper. They see it as a profound, ancient bond between their community and the wild landscape they call home.
This phrase right here, a living covenant, is absolutely key to understanding their point of view. For centuries, this has been framed not as a fight, but as a kind of sacred conversation. They genuinely see it as an ecological pact, where the community acts as stewards, caring for these herds in exchange for this deep, ancestral connection to the wild. And get this knowledge isn't written down in some book. It's a physical legacy. The skills of the aloitadores are passed down from the elders to the younger generation, literally hand to hand. It's all about teaching this deep, almost intuitive understanding of horse nature, how to guide them, how to calm them, and how to handle them without breaking that wild spirit. It's like the memory of the ritual lives in the hands of the people who do it. And the spiritual side of this is huge. The whole event is steeped in it. It actually starts with a mass, a prayer to their patron saint, San Lorenzo. And here's the kicker. They believe the horses actually belong to the saint himself. So the people see themselves as caretakers for a divine herd. That enclosure, the curl, it's not a cage to them. It's a sacred circle of renewal. The whole thing from top to bottom is meant to bind the community to their land, their history, and to each other.
But there is another, completely different way to see this. A deeply critical perspective that describes the very same events in starkly different terms. For animal rights advocates, and a lot of observers, this is no sacred ritual. It is a violent, terrifying ordeal for the horses.
This quote, which was documented by observers from an animal rights group, paints a totally different picture, doesn't it? It suggests an atmosphere of pure aggression. It completely shatters that idea of a respectful dialogue, and instead points to violence and subjugation, where the horses are treated like enemies to be conquered.
And these accounts really get to the heart of the criticism. Observers talk about seeing terrified foals literally ripped away from their mothers, causing just immense distress. They describe groups of men jumping on the animals, wrestling them to the ground. And this is a really crucial point. They also point out that many of the mares are pregnant during the festival, which just adds a whole other layer of risk and stress to this terrifying situation.
So, at the end of the day, the fundamental accusation is one of speciesism. Critics argue that the interests of the horses are just completely ignored. Their fear, their stress, their suffering, it's all just pushed aside for the sake of tradition and, frankly, for the entertainment of the cheering crowds. From this perspective, the ritual exists for human fun, not for animal welfare. Period.
So we're left with two totally opposed ways of seeing the exact same actions. One side sees guardians engaging in stewardship. They see a covenant of renewal. The other side, they see subjugation, speciesism, suffering, and domination. The very same hands that one person calls caring, another calls cruel.
So, how do we even begin to make sense of this? To really understand the complexity here, we have to add a third lens, the academic and ecological view. This one kind of steps back from that black and white debate.
Researchers and anthropologists, they don't necessarily see it as just tradition or cruelty. They look at it as this fascinating and, complex site of multi-species interaction. They study the social dynamics of not just the humans, but of the horse herds, too. How does this ritual disrupt their family bands, their hierarchies, their behavior? It's a messy, challenging, and pretty unique point of contact between the human and non-human worlds.
And there's another really crucial layer here, beyond the cultural debate, the ecology of it all. Managing these wild herds actually has real, tangible benefits for the entire ecosystem. Their grazing helps control overgrown plants, which promotes biodiversity, and, this is a big one, it seriously reduces the risk of forest fires. These animals are a key part of keeping the Galician mountains healthy.
Which leaves us with this final, really tough question that just has no easy answer. And this isn't just about one festival in Spain. It forces all of us to ask, in our modern world, how do we weigh a community's 500-year-old cultural identity against our evolving ethical standards for how we treat animals? When an ancient tradition clashes with modern morality, where do we draw the line?